started.
Yes.
Stop fooling around here with my stupid computer. Or the stupid operator of it. This is a regular meeting of the North Bennington Graded School District Board for January of 2020. And we'll start by introducing ourselves. I'll start. I'm Ray Molyneux. I'm the chair of the board.
Kim Kroll, board member.
Tim Schrader, board member.
Tim Newbold, head of school.
Lori Elwell, district clerk.
And Mary Rogers, treasurer.
Matthew Patterson, vice chair.
Thank you. We would have public comments if there were public present, but there is no public present. So we'll jump right into the finance report, which is item number 3 on our agenda.
I would note that the agenda says that the November treasurer's report is enclosed. It is in fact December's report.
Okay.
And on that report, the only items of note there is that the line of credit was repaid, so that is now out of there, and the $492,000+ from the state was received. So those funds will take us through the rest of the year.
All right. Isn't there another GSSG later on in the year?
There is a small
one?
one.
Smaller than this?
Yes.
And then, of course, you kept property taxes as well, right?
Property taxes, the bulk of the property taxes were collected and remitted in November. A significant amount, 22,000+ were paid late
Were
there.
delinquents.
Yes, and there was another, I think, 5,000+ that was collected and will be, it's right here as a matter of fact, was collected here. So it was actually a record low of delinquent amounts this year, which is a nice thing to see.
Previous delinquencies we will keep.
There are no
Not
previous
None.
year delinquencies.
Okay, so this was all current.
Yes,
Delinquencies.
yes. And I want to say they amount to,
Well, it
about
says
20.
22,579.
well, that was collected, but what is yet to be collected is about
22.
20,000,
Okay. Right.
which is a record low number at this point in the year.
Okay. Right. So we have like 995,000 ending account balance.
We do?
Well, before the sinking funds.
Correct, before that, and then before the expenses coming
Right.
up for the rest of the year.
Yeah, so we have 918,000,
Yeah.
well, 919,000 to
Mhm.
deal with expenses for the rest of the year. And that's about right. Okay. That's enough.
Yes.
Sufficient. All right. The other half of your budget status we usually skip.
Yes, I didn't see anything on that I couldn't identify.
Right. Well, it would behoove us to look toward what's going to be left for fund balance for 2020, but we won't deal with it tonight because it doesn't affect any of our
No.
budget decisions.
I would think it's just a little soon to know that myself, but
Well, you can get an approximation from
Yeah.
looking at
yeah.
what's on the payout so far against the budget
Mhm.
status. They usually show you
Yeah, they have an
what's
amount,
required.
an amount left.
So you can kind of get a rough idea of what's in there. Consent agenda. That consists of the warrant for this month and the minutes from the December meeting. review the minutes quickly. I got it.
I'll make a motion to accept minutes of Thursday, December 12th.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I guess we could have done that together with the consent.
With the
So now, the warrant.
warrant.
And make a motion to approve the warrant.
Okay.
Second.
What's on the warrant are mostly assessments, payment to the village school, payment to Lori for her services. And, yeah. I think there's a payment to me, I
There is.
should explain.
The extended warranty for your computer, so if
Yeah.
you did indeed throw it.
Yeah.
I did. I'm not going to throw it.
Okay.
I get- So at any rate, that's like a 2-year warrant extension. The maximum I could get, so I paid for it. And that's a reimbursement.
And then in addition, that's the January payment to the village school.
Yeah,
Today, 154,000.
right. Under the current tuition agreement as adjusted by the October census. We have a census coming up in February, and there will be one more child starting approximately February 1st, or end of
Maybe
January
even
somewhere.
before.
Maybe a bit before, in first grade. So our number will go up, that number will go up to 109. If there's no one else, averaging at 108 and a half, basically. And that will lead to an adjustment in the, we had an adjustment in the lease payment for this month, but that'll basically, I mean, we'll have to adjust that too.
Figure that out.
Recalculate it so that we end up in the right place at the end of the year. All right, so all in favor of approving the consent agenda with those items in it?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Oh, there is no.
Policies.
Oh, here it is,
Yeah.
sorry. Policies, none. Sheriff's report. So we can do these in any order. I think maybe we'll just leave Tim's report till the last, if that's okay with Tim, because the rest of us is going to be brief. Facility report, I just would like to hear progress. Matthew has actually done something on the items we've got.
I like that. I called one contractor today over in New York that came very highly recommended to take a look at the roof. I sent them a video. They'll be getting back in touch. I said that I gave them the address of the place, my contact number, so that obviously if they needed to come take a look, I would be coordinating with you as to how to get up on the roof. And I don't know if, I mean, we're not really looking yet for bids. I mean, we're looking for, you know, I explained to him that we were interested in possibly going the solar route at some point. You know, I think he's gonna say, yeah, even if the roof looks decent, it's in its 23rd year.
Right.
You know, something we're probably gonna do. And the roof looks good, actually, from the video, but that can be very deceiving. You know, it's kind of at that, you're not down on it looking at the seams and all that stuff. I did also ask if they would be able to package into an ultimate bid possibly wrapping, you know, as roofers, they could possibly wrap all
Sheet
of
metal
that
wrap,
in,
yeah.
Galvalume, which they would use like they were making panels for the standing seam roof. So that's one angle on this. They're not gonna be painters, so it's either, you know, they could possibly do the whole thing in that manner,
Mhm.
Right.
or we would need to find, you
The
know,
question would be whether they can duplicate profiles or whether we have to simplify the cornice work a little bit or
Right.
something.
so that's what, you know, when he calls, we'll, hopefully, at least Ray and I will, meet with them, kind of the scope and what we're planning.
Yeah, well, we should go up on the roof with them.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to get up
As
there.
long as, you know, we could have been up there, you know, depending on the weather. Not going up
Weather,
there,
yes.
exercise.
No.
It's easy to get out there.
Yeah.
So
So,
once you get up into the attic, that's not
that's
so
the
easy.
hard part, right?
Yes.
So I don't know whether to, I've got a few other names, but this recommendation kind of makes me think I really want to hear what they have to say. You know, obviously they're also asking about the scope, the timing, and that's the other thing we have to deal with. They're a pretty big contract, pretty big group, I think, and they might, you know,
Have capacity to.
maybe,
fit it
or
in.
maybe they're already like, he
Booked.
wasn't willing to say when or what, but
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get that moving. Maybe concurrently I should be talking to one of the other local outfits. My experience with those, we're gonna need to talk to at least one other anyway. Probably two.
And then we'll have to put out a bid request at time.
Right.
And that should be done fairly, maybe just after the budget is put to bed. Try
So-
to get that going.
Is that something SU will help with?
Yes,
That's-
they
right.
would do that for
Right.
us. Renee would enjoy doing it.
So that's where we're at on
Yeah. And we would need possible other contractors for doing work on the cornice, if
Right.
that's, has to be done in a conventional painting manner.
And that made me
So
think
that-
of, you know, another outfit to contact is the one that did the train station roof, which was a similar project, but that also entailed other elements, slate work and, you know, this and that, so that they might be willing to package a subcontracting of the painting if that's the way we ended up going or something, while the equipment is there. I don't know if they would stage scaffolding to put on the membrane roof or a crane or whether they can do a crane.
And they gotta do it with a crane.
So that doesn't really help.
Or,
There's not a lot of synergy between the two projects.
I mean, they would lift, they would be lifting up panels and rolls of material. They probably have a crane. That's not exactly painting scaffold.
No. Part of me wonders if you couldn't paint from the roof.
Like hang down from,
Either hang
Right.
down or actually just,
No,
I
that,
think
you
you
don't
go-
want a
no, you
cop
can't do
job.
that.
I think it goes.
and you've
oh,
got
it
to
goes
scrape.
down underneath.
You've got to
So there's
scrape.
gonna be-
You,
So a lift, a mobile lift that can move along, unless this concept of wrapping would work, because it'd be more expensive, but a lot less time. You know, so the materials would be more expensive, but.
and they last a lot longer.
And they would, one and done kind of thing.
Yeah.
Do you have to worry about adhering to any historical?
Right, I think that's his concern.
Yeah, my concern would be that what level of detail the National Historic Register business imposes
I can't believe that even exists anymore.
on that cornice. Or, you know, there are a lot of things that have been changed about this building over the years. It used to have a cupola,
Right.
but that's long gone, that's long before the designation too.
All right, well, I'll try to stay vigilant with that, and hopefully this guy will show up sooner than later.
Okay. So,
I wanted to speak about one other thing.
yeah,
Sorry. The tree,
yes,
the trees, they're
Yes.
still there, right?
yes.
Are we in a position to get them taken care of? And by taken care of, I think we meant eliminated.
Removed.
Because I really do, I mean, I think as a board, we made a promise to get a new tree planted in memory of Dan Tao, and I, you know. these things
Can
take
we
time,
wait till sugar season for John's class?
but- Oh, yeah.
Taps them.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't think it's gonna be done necessarily right
Yeah,
here in
probably
winter,
not,
but-
just because of,
But I'm thinking, you
Time
know, I know you,
constraints.
he's given us some varying quotes and whatnot. Whether or not we want to do stump removal and just really kind of make a clean slate.
clean
so we
slate,
can put
so you could actually put back in that hole.
or near it.
Yeah. Because it is nice to have those two flanking the sidewalk like. Okay,
Yeah.
no, we committed
We
to
did,
it.
we need to do that this year. We, you know, remember those numbers for full removal?
I don't remember them, but we have them somewhere. I
They're
think
not-
they were more than just a verbal. I feel like, I don't know.
There was
I'll look.
something written.
Yeah.
That we might have on an email or,
Mhm.
okay. All right, sorry.
Okay, so perhaps, Kim, do you think you can find that?
Well, I'm gonna make
I'm
myself a
gonna
note
look
to
under
look
her-
too.
Okay, thank you. We ought to put that, you know, that should get done, because it's been hanging around. All right, so our tuition agreement with the village school requires a report on the state of the school prior, you know, as per our tuition agreement. And, also, that should lead into the last item on here, which is a discussion of our budget. So I'd like to turn the floor over to Tim. And let's get these warrants signed.
No.
Because otherwise, you know, I don't want to repeat last month.
I was not gonna leave without them.
Right.
Ray, where were they? Where did they end up being?
I had,
Okay.
I didn't,
Well, I
But-
finished mine, but, yeah, just,
but they weren't, I left them in my little file on
Does
the
it work?
stairs,
no, I'm okay.
truth be told.
I've got more cartridges.
So, oh, I'm sorry. So I didn't, I walked right by them and didn't pick them up. I put them there for me to pick up, of course, but I totally spaced out of the.
So, the state of the school right now is, I think everything is in good order. A couple of the changes that we made over the summer to try and equalize our overall budget and things like that, I think have not really impacted the program, which is what we really hoped. And I think, we've had a couple of little hiccups around maintenance and things like that, but we knew that there were going to be a couple of things that we would miss and have to figure out. And but I think we've been able to do that, and having someone helping sort of in our office and with managing those pieces has been really good as far as getting all the making sure we have all the different tests being done on all the different pieces of equipment and things like that that have had to happen. Just as a side note, we've actually gotten a couple of old pieces of equipment working again, sort of floor scrubber and things like that, which is gonna
Thanks
be
to
really-
Mr. Maher.
which is going to
Maher,
be
yeah.
great for us. So things like that have been very helpful. And I think just the the folks taking on those roles this year have been doing it with big smiles on their face and enjoying it, and I think the kids have a good time with them as well. So very happy with those changes. As far as overall numbers, you know, the number of students, it was certainly lower than we expected, but I think it's worked out pretty well, and we're moving back in a positive direction, which is always nice. The staffing changes as far as teaching. Our 6th grade teacher has come into a role and faced some challenges with, we'd had a couple different people in that role over the last couple of years. I think she really is excited to be here in Vermont with her husband, and seems to be settling in really well with faculty and staff, and well liked by all. And I think she's just eager to do the best job she can, and I think she's working really hard at it, and I'm happy with that. The other things, we have a pilot, hopefully a pilot in the spring. We're going to pilot, and Lori's been gracious enough to do this with it. We're going to pilot a forest kindergarten program, so try a couple hours a week doing that, and see if we wanted to expand it in the years ahead.
Could you describe what that means?
So that means sort of like it's going to be sort of an extension of the garden program, but for a few weeks prior to doing the garden program, they'll go out and spend some time in the woods for a couple hours a week, and do some outdoor learning, some things connected to the curriculum they're having that week. And we're going to try potentially a couple different models where half the class would go out to do, and half the class would be with Lori, and things like that. So we're going to try some different things this spring.
So Laura, you're not going to take everyone out into the woods?
I mean, I would, but there might be someone who would do a better job. What's interesting, Tim brought that up, but I have a student in my class who just moved here and was in a forest kindergarten last year. It's been so much fun to listen to them talk about the different things that they've done.
So we're excited to try that. I think the year is shaping up pretty well. Kids are doing lots of fun activities as usual. We added one new big experience for the 6th grade this year. The 5th grade does an overnight to Keewaydin, which is an outdoor education center. And the 6th grade we did an overnight leadership program at the Hulbert Center over in Fairleigh, Vermont. And they then are taking some learning that they did there, and they're going to be doing basically extended civics work here and doing some service work in our community. So now they're figuring out who they're going to work with and what kind of service project they're going to perform. So we're excited about that. So it could be a new thing that we continue to do for our 6th grade to really extend that program as much as possible. I think those are the big things. Are there any things that you would like me to delve
Could
into?
you talk about the 504 process in this building?
Okay. So 504s and IEPs have some similarities but also some differences. So the IEP is an individual education plan, and that is usually set up for a student who is facing some academic challenges or some behavioral challenges, and they go through a whole series of testing, so they have to be recommended for that. And they go through the testing, and then they have to pass what the state terms as specific gates, or federal specific gates to do that. And then we set up an educational plan for them. That is then managed by our special education teacher here, and we work with the district around that. And then we're also able to get some reimbursement for the services we're providing. The 504 plan may have a lot of the similar elements as far as services that a student requires, but there is no, and it's based on a medical diagnosis. So if a student has any kind of medical diagnosis like anxiety or attention deficit disorder or something along those lines, they may need some accommodations, which may mean we have to provide them extra time for things. We may need to provide them some extra support in the classroom, those kinds of things. But there's no way to get any reimbursement for that.
Does that have another name besides 504?
No, that's pretty much the
Okay.
standard
Okay.
in most educational institutions I've been in, and even from different states and different
Okay.
independent versus public.
Meaning they don't pass through the gates.
So some of them do. So there are kids with medical diagnoses
Right.
that also have an IEP, but there are
Right.
some who probably wouldn't, and we haven't recommended for that. And the problem with the challenge there, I should say, is the gates are very specific, is that they have to fall with below a certain comparison to their peers. So if they're a bright student, if they're doing well academically, or have just strong innate abilities where they can not be paying attention and goofing around, but still
Right.
be able to absorb most of what's going on. They won't pass the gate. Even if there are behavioral disruption, things like that, they won't get through the IEP gates. So they have that 504 diagnosis, but they would not fall under an IEP in its current way of going through the process.
Right, so, but if they have just behavioral issues,
They have
and yet they're bright,
It has to. So the behavioral one falls then into, if it's truly a behavioral issue, it falls. The only diagnosis that it would fall under is emotional disturbance, and that is one
And that is-
category of IEPs that is the hardest
to get
to
into.
get. The gates are the most difficult to get through. My understanding, the school has only had a couple, talking to Ernie and things like that in the last number in
Yeah.
a significant period of time. So there's not many, talking to Tom, our school counselor who's been here for many years, and even back talking to Ernie as school principal a number of years ago, you don't get the diagnosis very often. When those diagnoses were come through, those students were typically serviced someplace else once the diagnosis came through, or once they passed through the gates of the IEP.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Am I answering your question? Right.
Yeah, but now they still have to, on the 504, they're still expected to be accountable for learning what the rest of the class is supposed to be learning. That would seem to me
That's the hope,
normal.
yes, that's the hope, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Other questions from other board members, perhaps?
Get any numbers in your mind for next year?
That's always the interesting one, I think, this is now number 4 that I think we've nailed it once or twice and we've missed it once or twice. So,
Listed widely. Circumstances change.
yes, and so I think we have sort of a 50-50 record right now. So the big thing that makes it very hard for me to even want to come close to nailing down a number is the housing project. I'm excited about the potential of it, but I have no idea what it may mean for us. I put a call into the Shires just to see. I don't know if some people are sometimes when they're building something, people are already on the list to move in, and I don't know if they know any of that data yet that they could potentially share with me. So I've reached out to them to try and find that out. Right now, I'm hoping we would maintain the 109. I'm really hoping we would move up to more like the 114 or 115 range.
Well,
And
graduating sixth grade and kindergarten comparison, which I
Mhm.
see in this draft from
Mhm.
the central office, shows this increase of 6.
but that's how many there are. That's
Right.
not how many will absolutely come here. So I would err on the conservative end there.
Yeah, that's-
And if they're thinking 120.
That's the
121
estimated
for-
kindergarten going in.
Yeah, so I would
Right.
probably, I'm thinking more like 17, as probably a safe number for us to think about. You have to think about, obviously, the full 21, but I think we would probably land at around the 17, 18. Could be 20, but it
Could be.
But it may only be the 17 or 18.
Did you get any response from the Shires people?
Not yet.
Okay.
But the initial impact statement that they gave me way back when in the planning process said maybe 6 in our age range, but
Okay.
it's a
6 in this age range, or not
Maybe.
6 total students?
six students in this age range, but they said very much. I mean, that was a maybe, and I think that was sort of like to say that this was sort
They
of
don't
our-
know,
Yeah.
I guess. So we,
Would it be worthwhile for a member of our board to also contact them and see, are they gonna be renting this summer, or do they have?
They're supposed to be completing in the spring. And starting in-
They sure are moving fast.
aren't they?
yeah,
I drive past it every day, it's going really quick.
yeah.
So, and I don't know how quickly though.
Well, we
Real
could
quickly, or it could be
talk to
slow.
them and ask them when they're going to start developing a list of applicants that they approve.
I would guess that there's a list already.
I would
See, that's
think so.
what I was reaching
Yeah.
out
That would
with,
be-
more hoping that
if
there's
we-
a fund.
They wouldn't reveal anything.
No, just I wasn't.
If they could give us-
just wanted to know if people were already on the waiting list and if they potentially had families.
It could be a huge difference in what we have to budget for here.
Right. Well, so your notion is, if you discount that development for the moment, where would you put the number?
I wouldn't change it from 109 very much.
109. Okay.
So 109 is where we hopefully will finish out the year, and then you just think about, there's always a little bit of attrition, and then we're graduating a class and we're incoming class. So if we bump up to 111 with our incoming class, that would be great. If we
So basically, you're discounting that the difference between the outgoing and the incoming is actually going to be 6. You're thinking it's more like it's going to be equal.
because if the last number of years has shown me, I lose a couple in, I lose
Right.
one in second, I lose one in third, I lose one in fourth,
Right.
so
But-
some
but
of those
the-
balance out. But
The development out on
Mhm.
Aaron Road there is an additional number, as
Mhm.
far as we know.
Yeah, so that's why I'm
It's
hoping,
not
I'm
inclusive.
hoping for the 114,
Yeah,
but I don't know where it will.
109, so maybe we'll have 112,
You've got some other,
13.
you've got a new family that moved in with,
And
That's the 109, that's the, right, but there is a pre-K there too.
Oh, yeah, so, down the road,
Right.
more kids, and there's other kids that have moved into Harwood Hills and things like that, but they're still on the young end.
And that 109, the pre-K is part of that family, so there may be 110 from just that going into kindergarten next year.
The following, yeah.
Yeah, no,
She's,
220,
she won't be into kindergarten until the following year.
till 2021, right. So,
We have a new student, I just thought of this, we have a new pre-K student whose family purchased a house
Oh,
in
they're
North
in the
Bennington
district, yes.
on Sixth Street,
Okay,
who is kindergarten ready next year.
okay.
And I didn't count that in the
In that
count I
number,
gave to
okay.
you.
So that could-
because that's all new
Yeah,
for us
yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So that would put it in a positive direction as well. Yeah, that's great.
So that might be 111. That might be 111.
My only
Assuming you
concern
retained everybody.
Sure.
is,
in
you know,
fifth
you
bin.
underestimating, and then us having to cap at,
Oh, I think we will
You know,
have to,
capping
we will have to,
somewhere.
I mean, I think we will have to cap, it's just, I have
It's
to be as
better to budget.
conservative
I
as
get
possible.
that.
I've lost the last 2 years significantly. So,
Yeah.
so if you can budget for something and then,
I mean, when I say the last 2 years, last year and this year,
Yeah.
I've lost it, or the school has lost it. Because the numbers just didn't.
so erring a little bit from middle down, allowing for whatever we come up with as being what contingency from our end
Yeah.
is probably, I think we're getting better, I mean, we're getting better at this, like figuring out how that
And I
works.
have that work when we sit down and really crunch the numbers, I have on board sheets for you and all that stuff to do it.
I think the question is, or the 108, is that a solid number going forward? And then, you know, we got this additional
I'm
child.
thinking it's a solid number because we have people, we have this development, so I think there's gonna be a couple, and then the incoming group in kindergarten, at least the numbers show it's bigger than.
So
our
you're
outcome.
incorporating the development numbers into the 108?
No,
That's what I'm
I'm just, okay, if I take the development out, then the 108 is because there's I'm confident that with that 20 or 21 incoming kindergartners, we will still be able to maintain the number we have. Even if we lose some others, because that would be sort of the balance.
So you're taking that's a very conservative approach.
I have to.
It doesn't, I mean, in the end, like, we set our cap somewhere above that, and if they're overly conservative, that's good for the following year when you know that there's more students there, but we're limiting our liability as well. I mean, if they come up with 111, we're not gonna say, okay, we'll cap you at 120, we'll cap at 114.
No, we're not going to do that.
So it ends up being 118. Just each of us finding that middle and
And then also figuring out what the tuition rate is. You know, with the 8.9% that the SBSU has put in, I'm thinking anything below that is gonna look pretty.
Well, we don't see 8.9%.
you see, because we're not, that 8.9 includes the extra million in that healthcare assessment
Oh,
Which
no.
doesn't affect
that we're
us.
not
no.
paying for.
Oh, no, but it affects me. I mean,
Yeah.
my health benefits
Yeah,
are
you've
still
got-
going
you've
up
got
by
the
over
same
10%.
Oh, no.
plan.
Each year, so.
But you're not being held to that ruling.
I already was doing it.
You were already doing it.
I was already doing it.
That's good.
Because I don't have, we couldn't do it because, or, like, I don't know that we ever wanted to, but we couldn't do it because you can't have two categories of employees unless they're unions. So all of our employees.
Are the same
Are the same
category.
category.
Okay.
So what they had before is they had separate classes.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
teachers were one
Right.
class, the support staff were one class, we have
Okay.
no difference there.
And so the 18 and a half hours, are you following that?
I'm sorry,
Well, the ruling is that any employee over 18 and a half hours a week has access to these benefits.
we don't have that one. Ours in our thing has been, if it's over 60%, so if they're 60% time, then they are eligible for
Right.
health benefits. They are automatically eligible for our retirement plan at even less than that. But the health benefits come in at 60%.
Okay. All right, so are you, your board's working on
Yep. No, I have, and we'll hopefully sit down with you guys potentially next week or something like that and try and look at those numbers or at latest the early the week after to try and push where we would set the cap and what we would set the tuition rate at and things like that.
All right. Any other questions for Tim? No? Anybody else have questions?
My only question would be, so you're working on your budget, and
Mhm.
then you'll meet with Ray and his board, and then maybe back to you again. I'm looking out for what I need as
Yeah.
deadlines and.
What is the drop, what's the deadline you need?
Well, my deadline would be the last week in January.
Oh, yeah.
I would like everything.
That's the ballot deadline for this stuff?
Well, I need the warning, and then I proceed to the ballot, and I am not doing it the last day that it's due, because
Yeah.
I've done that before.
Well, I think we've been better the last couple of
No,
years.
no, it's not you, usually, at all.
So if I just look at the calendar, we have our board meeting next Thursday.
Yep.
And if I think about the last couple of years, we've usually met the following Monday or Tuesday or
Mhm.
something like that to try and finalize the number, and we've been able to come to an agreement then. which
Yeah,
would put
it's
us-
been great the last
which would
year or
put
two,
us-
so.
I
that's
think the
been
drop
wonderful.
dead date for warning
So,
is February
It would put us,
3rd.
yeah, I think we've done it right after Martin Luther King.
Yep.
That's what we typically
I don't
That's
want to
great.
wait that long.
No.
And I don't either, and that was why I said the
Yeah,
end of
sure.
January,
That's
and,
right.
because I know you go back and forth
Yeah.
a little bit, and then
Mhm.
you all meet, this board meets to sign,
Yeah.
You're
and
saying
then
the
I
drop
go
dead is
from
the
there with what I need
SUs
to do.
in
so.
order-
That's the state's
Or it's
design
the
for
ballots
our,
of printing.
for our March.
No, so that's
No,
for
it
your
doesn't have anything to do
warning.
with printing, anything like that. It just has to do with the state's deadline for warnings.
And then shortly after the warning is posted, I'll get requests for absentees. I won't have the ballots quite then,
Right.
but I'll try to get them as quickly as I possibly can.
So
And that's out of Boston, so I
Um,
need to put that together.
I would
Right.
plan to meet with a small grouping of you, typically on the Martin Luther King week, so.
That's the week of the 20th. Yep, okay.
Well, I think what we should do as a housekeeping strategy for this board is we should just continue with this meeting and then try to set some dates tonight to continue it to, because I think we have to do that with a date so that the public knows when we're meeting, because it's still
Right,
open
and you
meeting.
do, and so I would say that that would continue to 2 meetings.
Yeah.
Because you'd meet with Tim.
We'd meet-
And then you'd meet again.
We'd need at
next
least
week.
2 meetings, I
Yeah.
think. so.
I would be available, I mean, I don't imagine you want to meet on, is school in session on Martin Luther? So you probably will be away or doing something.
What day is that?
That's the
That's
20th.
Monday, the 20th.
Otherwise, I should be available the 22nd. Is my theoretical day off. It's 2 weeks from today.
What about next week? When do you
They're
guys meet?
meeting.
No,
We-
they-
we-
Oh, you're
we
meeting.
meet on Thursday
Thursday
of
next
next
week.
week.
16th.
and then-
So we really, there's no point in talking before we can do that. Yeah, and
I mean,
that's what
I would have a Saturday afternoon there if someone happened to be around, late afternoon, or a Sunday.
And I think
Typically, it's been,
we've sometimes just done a smaller group and then
Yeah.
come to
Right,
the meeting
right.
to do the final
Yeah.
signing off on it.
So there's
So-
not even so many
so
people.
that's all.
Yeah, that's great.
Is what we've typically done for the last couple of years, and then we bring that,
That's great.
then we brought those numbers to you guys, and then you guys have just made your final vote.
I mean, I don't, unless you want it to be, I don't think it should be like that. You know, Ray and I may end up being just Ray if I can't, but I would try what we typically do and email you all and then come in and sign, you know, if necessary, come in and sign something.
And you've done that early morning
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Do we have all the numbers, well, we don't have the numbers from central office.
it
We
keeps
have some.
changing, you know, that whole,
We don't have final numbers for most of this.
we have our CLAs, we have our. but those are
Yes, we have
final. It's-
CLAs.
It's really the.
We don't
general
have
grant.
the
So much
fund
better.
balance, we
They
don't
just had on the
have,
date just
we
right.
have an equalized pupil number that's plugged into this grant, but those change a little bit sometimes too. We don't have, we have an estimate for the yield for $1 of taxes per or, yeah, $1 of taxes, what it's coming. That'll change because the legislature has to decide. That's basically, I guess, based on the joint fiscal office estimate at the moment.
That seems to change even after, that often changes after people's budgets go to print.
Yeah, it can change after the budget, after the March meeting.
Ours changed a little last year.
Yeah, it changes if they have new information that they
Actually
need
changed
to
our
change it
benefit
to.
by, you know, 10 to a penny or something.
Yeah, right. It will happen, and it won't matter which way it goes, you just gotta deal with it. So there's still lots of stuff up in the air, but because our budget items are, we haven't changed a lot of them in some years. We just left them as placeholders in case we need to add an expense in. And the only real variables are in the assessments and in the tuitions. Now, I will tell you that on this budget I sent out, that the assessment for pre-K for the early education expenses is not actually based on numbers, it's based on percentage. So we're getting, I don't know if we're getting whacked or not, but we're based on 9 of the elementary, we're 9% of that population, which is, you know, we're up a couple of percents over 10 years ago, which is growth. That's good for us, but I don't, you know, like on the Triple E side of it, we have 3 students this year in early ed in Triple E. This is a little higher than usual, but I don't know what percentage that is of the total, but we're getting 9% of the total budget. And on the pre-K side, we're getting 9% of the budget. We may actually have more students than 9%. So it's kind of a, I don't know how it balances out without knowing the total numbers, which we have. And then the other tuitions, the biggest variable is, the biggest 2 variables are the school number for enrollments that we're going to fix on. And South Shire told me that they have currently 9 students, but she's expecting 3 more students, so 12. And that is not in this draft. It's only in there at 9, I think.
Well, I think there's students there now
8.
that.
It's in there at 8, and there's actually 9 because someone came in later.
Right, and there's students there now who we are not paying for because they're not kindergarten eligible, they're younger than that.
Yes, and that's where
So that's where,
well, that's only 1, isn't it?
I think it's 2.
Okay, so
I mean,
that
I
would be
could go over that,
2
but
of the
that's,
3.
they're there already, but they're
Yeah, right.
they're not getting paid
Yeah,
for it. Because they're with, their siblings are a little bit older.
right.
Yeah,
So that would be 2 of the 3.
yeah.
I don't know. There's
I
another
know
one
who
that
it
they're-
is. I'm,
Is
if
there-
you need to know that, I
Is
know
there
that.
anywhere on this spreadsheet?
I don't need to know it. I just
No, I
need to know
meant-
the number.
I do know it, if
Right.
you
We
want to.
can't plug in student numbers. I mean, she's got it footnoted as to what that,
She's got it
For village
footnoted
tuition at 108.
what's incorporated into the number that's showing. So
And then
if
she has
you
the-
just roll over the corner there where the
Yes, I see
little
that.
double.
And then that's what the assumption is, tuition times 1.03,
Yeah, right.
which is figuring 114 of
Yeah.
that. All right, so
And,
it's always helpful when you have your little spreadsheet and the
Mhm.
thing that shows,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yep.
Right,
Yeah,
and,
so I'll have that for us.
for the Union District, shows 10. So one of them is a sixth grader now, so graduates. So, who knows if there are others going to show up to fill in the lower end of that? We don't know. We had several come in last year. And, yeah, so we have to decide on those numbers and then set our budget based on it. I think those are appropriate numbers for the tuitions.
We're looking at 26 total students
But
last year.
right now, we are, if you look at the tax impact, just the way it is without the changes, that's another tab on the sheet.
4 cents for us.
It's 4 cents in the village, a little over 4 cents in the village, and almost three for Shaftesbury District 1 increase. And that's got MAU factored in, although MAU, of course, is no variable. That could change a little bit before they set it.
But the actual impact is a flat cost per 100,000, or a decrease.
Sorry.
I got the spreadsheet.
Go down here,
I emailed it out to you.
1,600 per 100,000, which is a decrease of $41 over last year.
No, it's an increase. $41.
Parenthetic.
Nope, it's not parentheses.
I mean, it's italics.
No, it's got to be in parentheses to be a decrease.
Oh, in parentheses, okay.
It's an increase.
Thank you. $41 over per 100,000 assessed.
Yeah. Small, but
Small.
we have been going down, so we're going back up, and that's because there's more students in this than we're.
Then we might need to, the
It's
fund
more
balance, we gotta get to
students.
figure out the
Doing
fund
that.
balance. and
Is
that's
that
gonna
okay with you
change
right now?
everything.
Yeah.
So, no.
Well, I think the fund balance is probably fairly accurate. It won't be orders of magnitude larger than it shows there. 221,000. What else we got there? And this 78,000 we have there, you know, that may adjust downward based on our agreement, tuition agreement. So we actually have a little less revenue.
This year, which will
This
affect-
year
which
and
will affect
probably
the
next
fund,
year.
Which will affect.
Yeah. For the following year, yeah.
Well, I think when, about all we know.
So, well, how much more we want to talk about this right now?
Is there any other on the share report or other?
I have it down there in case there's something we want to talk about.
One other thing I'll just add is I forgot to mention earlier that we did in fact get the grant today.
You did.
I did share that.
I
with
saw
you
that
guys.
in the minutes,
Yeah.
thank you, that's great.
Oh, yeah.
Good
And
news.
we're hoping, we started the process, we're hoping to have them come in over the February break and do the work. If for some reason we can't do it then, we'll probably do it a little bit.
And we've got,
And what are they going to be doing?
Replacing the phones, putting in a PA system in the hallway, and also an outdoor speaker.
do they use existing wiring, or are they gonna?
They're gonna use mostly existing wiring, but the PA part
That's
is gonna
new,
require
yeah.
new wiring. But it'll be connected to the phone system, so when you do the paging on the phone system, it will also come out the speakers.
Right. And, what, there's a grant for this?
So the
Part of
grant
it.
covers 75% of it,
Okay.
and then
We were gonna share the remainder of that, or were we gonna pay for it? I just can't remember.
we just said that you guys.
I was
you guys
figuring
had
we
said-
would pay for
You guys
it.
had said you would support us, we
Yeah.
never came up to that, so.
Well,
We're talking about 2,500.
I think it'd be like
Mine-
20, it's like 2,400.
my intent was that we would pay
Yep.
for it.
So
I-
that'll reduce our fund balance by 1%.
Yeah, I mean, it is part, it's a pretty essential part of the infrastructure, especially given the safety function.
It'd be really cool if we could get that done.
Yeah, no, that's the whole,
Right.
they seem to think they were just ordering all the pieces and stuff like that, so we're getting in line to make that happen.
Is that the consensus of the board? Will we pay for it?
Absolutely, yeah, sure. Tim?
Oh, sorry, I was looking at the spreadsheet.
That we would pay the 25% of the grant, or the.
Right,
For the same.
yes.
So what we're doing right now is we're paying for it, and then
You
we'll
get the grant,
money,
and then we'll add
Right,
invoice.
and then you'll invoice us
Yep.
for the
That
balance.
sounds fine. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. That seems to work. It's
Mhm.
been working for the expenses of the buildings.
Yeah.
As long as you can swing it and then bill us, that's good.
No, that's fine.
So what dates are we setting for, to carry, what's the term again, Lori?
Continue.
Continue, thank you.
We'll continue this meeting to, safely, I think, Wednesday,
The 22nd.
the 22nd.
But that may just be what.
That's just
the
us, and it
two,
can
yeah.
be,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are
Well,
you?
It's a quorum meeting
This,
to
Oh,
make a
wait.
decision.
Well, you don't make the
Right.
decision then.
No, but if
meet
we
to
have a
come up with
decision to make,
recommendation, and then you guys get together to.
It's a
make
warned
decision.
meeting, or to be a,
So maybe we
to
don't
have
have to do
minutes,
that.
we have to have
No.
a
But
quorum.
what we've typically done is we've gotten together, we've come up with a number that you then bring back as a recommendation to the rest of the.
So tentatively, we should continue the meeting to that following Monday morning.
Right, not on
at-
the 22nd.
At, I won't be able to be there because I leave unless it's at 6 in the morning. I think
Which
27th,
meeting
right?
you won't be able to be at?
the actual warrant
Sign,
meeting.
the actual
will
warrant
have
meeting.
Signs, but we will have been in the discussions.
Well,
together.
I think
Unless do
actually
it at night.
we would adopt the budget at that meeting, and then there would be a warning meeting when we have the paperwork. I don't know when that would be, so we can't continue, we'll just have to warn briefly, I guess. Or continue it from the 22nd meeting.
Well,
Or
I think what we
for the
did last
sign.
time, Ray, I think what I'm trying to say is that the 22nd meeting doesn't need to be part of the warrant meeting. It's a discussion to a non-quorum board with them.
Okay, right. It doesn't have to be, right? But the following meeting is part of the continuation, and if there needs to be continuation to sign the paperwork, we can do it there.
so would you like that on the 27th, the Monday? Is that what you said, Kim?
Well, you won't be here.
Well, it could also be a brief evening
Right,
meeting.
yeah.
I mean, it could be a 6 o'clock meeting that lasts not very long.
Yeah, it's only 10 minutes.
Unfortunately, we have, it would have to be on a Monday, I think.
That's what we're saying.
Okay, good. So you would make that Monday. You're
I
not
could-
out of town. I thought you were leaving on Monday or something. No.
No, I'm just working.
Okay,
So
okay,
I
but you
don't
could
get
do the
back
6
till
p.m.
6 p.m.
Perfect.
So the meeting's
27th.
continued on
To
to
the
the
27th
27th
at 6 p.m. Is that okay? Okay.
From there, we've had a special meeting to sign the warning.
Right.
I haven't been, yeah, I mean, I've been here.
We'll just
but
continue
I-
from the 27th to the
Absolutely, if that's
signing.
what you want to do. That's fine.
And meeting 1/22 for you and I.
You and I, whenever you'll be in
That's-
session that day.
We'll
Oh,
figure
yeah,
that
we'll be
out.
here on the
You'll be
21st.
there. We can figure that out. I should be here all day.
So we'll set the time for that because that's not wrong.
6 p.m.
And then, yeah, because then, like, the next day or 2 days after that, you're gonna need to meet to sign the warning.
Right.
Because I need it,
And you'll need it then.
Right. And
because then you're at the
actually,
29th of January.
if we could do it, could we do it the next day?
Sure.
It depends on when they get the paperwork to us.
Yeah. Well,
22nd, we're gonna meet sometime in the morning.
Okay, so all we need is the formula. We just need to use the formula that we've used and type in the right number. So I would need the correct number from the central office for the total budget warning. And then I would need from our discussion and the approval and the continued meeting, the rate. And then we can plug those in and we can.
and they
do
could
it.
get the information from very quickly. The meeting's gonna be really short. You guys are gonna have figured that out on the 22nd anyway,
Right, and then we'll
and sent an email out.
communicate via email before meeting on the, yeah.
They sent the paperwork last year, they sent it to me, I printed it out, and then when it was signed, we scanned it in, and then I sent it to the printer in Boston.
Well, I'll
For the back.
check with,
Okay, yep.
with Renee about getting her this endorsed document through email on the 27th after we've had the meeting.
Plug in the
And
numbers.
with the idea that we get it back like the next day and
Mhm.
can set up a
Right.
meeting for, that would be 27th is what?
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday, yes,
So,
That's the 6 p.m. meeting.
correct.
right.
We're gonna
So we
meet
can
at
get back
9
by
on-
Wednesday, be sitting down,
Wednesday
Wednesday
the
morning.
By like the
29th.
29th, and you
Mhm.
can sign it, and then we
Mhm.
can just go from there.
Mhm.
If she can, I don't see why not, because you can do most of the warning right now
Mhm.
without
Yeah.
the numbers.
No,
Drop
I
dead
can-
deadline is probably Monday.
The warning itself is pro forma.
Correct.
It's just the numbers.
But even, well, if you want to finish your thought, I have another thought.
What's that?
Well, I need somebody to run for this board because I have to have petitions in.
Yes.
And
Oh,
I
right,
need
we
to
had
have them
emailed.
immediately, almost,
Mhm.
almost.
Mhm.
And we need, I mean, that person has to have
30
signatures.
signatures, roughly.
And I need to submit that. I think it is Ray, but when I get home, I'll look
I
in my
just
book.
looked it up, yeah.
It's Ray and
Yes.
Tim. Tim's not running.
Well, I didn't look it up definitively, but definitely last year.
It was you and
It
Tim.
was a 2-year and a 3-year and a 2-year
Okay.
is what,
It's easy to do. Just look
You
up
did.
the annual report for last year in the SVSU site. It's right on the front of it.
So that's
What the-
my
what the-
concern
what
right
the
now, is
term
finding
experts
something.
Certainly,
survey.
right.
Or-
Do you have any thoughts or suggestions?
Well, I gave Ray a list of 10 people that I
Oh,
thought,
okay.
and he,
I haven't done anything about it yet.
Wonder, could you?
Ray is
you want-
2020,
What if you
I
could
send
send it
that
to
list? I
everyone.
think that would be a great
Okay.
Tim
idea,
is 2020.
if you wouldn't mind.
Oh,
so it's Tim and,
and Maria,
it's,
all 3 of them.
because that's a problem.
Mhm.
So you need to
Two.
potentially do 2.
It's Tim and Maria, okay.
And Ray.
And Ray?
Yes. That's what it
Oh
says
my
here.
gosh.
Ray
That makes
2020.
sense, 'cause it was you two
Tim
last
2020. Maria 2020.
That's because I'm a 2-year, so I kind of float in and out of
Yeah.
different terms.
So
different connections.
So I would prepare to have 2 candidates, but I will speak with Maria.
Okay,
And confirm that.
okay.
But I will not speak to her until Friday. She's out of town
Okay.
right now.
And then who would want to talk to the person that was brought up as a possible candidate? I don't know her.
Well,
Oh, no,
Caitlin
you
was
just
brought
said-
up, but I said
Or
that-
maybe the parent.
I said perhaps the parent, because
Right.
she won't. I mean, I think she would be fine,
She's
but she
stretched.
just won't.
She is-
I know. She has 3 little kids and no husband, or no person
No
helping her.
partner.
No partner.
Well, does anybody want to talk to either of their parents?
I could,
I'm ready to talk.
I mean, I could too,
Yeah,
but I
right.
mean,
right. I will.
Kim's going to. Someone let me know, because we can have the
If you need other
documents.
names, I can.
I think
do.
that's a great idea, yes, if you
We
could
do
send
need
us
other
a
names,
list,
I just don't want to put them out there because we haven't actually asked
Right,
them.
said anything, so if you could send us a
So,
list of names,
I'll
so
try and think about it.
do a little
Now, I sent
brainstorming.
a list of names to Ray, so
If you don't
may
mind
wanna
sharing
look
it-
at
if
my
you don't mind
list,
sharing
and
that
then,
with
so
me.
they're not
And then forward that
duplicated,
on
and
to
then,
us.
Yeah.
Thanks.
we could do that.
Yeah,
The one name you had, which I think would have been great, she works for, she can't run.
She can't.
Emily would have run years ago, but you can't be a member, you can't be an employee of the SU.
Okay,
They could be on the village school board. They can't be on
sure.
it. Should be great. And I think Ray's
Oh,
comments on the
darn,
others
now I know
were,
who you mean.
Ray's comments on the others are probably pretty right on. But we've talked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe she could run for trustee.
Yeah, that she could do. Actually, either of them.
Hmm?
Either of them.
Yeah.
She or.
Isn't he on the planning commission or zoning
Yeah.
board? Oh,
Okay,
right,
He's on
so,
the,
whatever, and John wants Brian.
Matt and I have a meeting with Tim the 22nd. We need to set that up time-wise. We have a continuation of this meeting, the 27th at 6 PM.
Right.
Here.
Yep,
We need to move that. We need to close with a motion to continue this meeting
Right.
Oh,
to January
To the
27th.
I make
Yeah.
a motion
6
to
p.m.
continue this meeting until 6 PM, January 27th.
I
I already
second
wrote it
that,
down.
and I second that.
And what?
Oh, no, I had that written down already, because I
Okay.
knew that's what you were gonna do.
All right, so. Why don't you script the whole meeting, Mark? So let's vote. All of us in favor, aye.
Aye.
Hey.
We're continued.